going on, man? Good to see you. How's everything? I didn't. I hit the ground running. I did not stop until the night. I slept on the plane. I mean, I got a few hours here and there. I didn't have the babies, but yeah. I needed to get some sleep. I was tired. I'm not sleeping until tonight. This morning, let's go to a regular day. Let's go to laundry. Let's go groceries. Dinner all that long. And then it was night. Great. You can let your daughter know you're home, right? Keep Rabbi out of trouble on that one. That's what we were doing. On the caregiver.
Very tired.
Do you need anything?
No, we're really okay. Hi, I'm Arlene Needleman. I'm wearing a mask because they scheduled him for the Watchman procedure. He's got to come off the. He has atrophy. He's got to come off the blood thinners. So they're doing it a week from Monday. So and then.
And you've got to make sure you don't affect him.
Yeah. I just said to him.
It's great to see him.
I just told him.
Sorry.
Plus we pulled his tooth out. while we were at the hospital, we got a tooth on a tooth that had already been root canal and cut. We only know how to do weird shit.
No, what's wrong?
We only know.
Is he falling apart one part of the time? I remember when it was the hip.
He used to say to me, I'm going to get 2 30-year-olds, 2 20-year-olds. I said to him the other day, I said, I'm going to get 2 35-year-olds. I said, this is enough. I said, you better get ready.
I'm just glad he's home. That's a good step to get. That's awesome.
We really get it. And the West Side Regional has beautiful ice rooms. You were comfortable. It's just...
Nobody ever wants to be.
No.
I want. I want to welcome everybody this evening. This promises to be a very, very powerful evening. I apologize, but it is the reality of the world that we live in that we have a security line, and I know folks are still coming in, but I'm grateful for so many of you who thanked me for the security line tonight. We are here to learn and to hear stories and to figure out how we can help the worst possible Jewish crisis since the Holocaust. My name is Rabbi Andrew Jacobs. For those of you who don't know me, I'm lucky enough to have been the rabbi here for over 2 decades. I was lucky also to have visited Kfar Azza in 2021. And I visited after what now seems like a minor escalation with Gaza, and I immediately fell in love with what to me felt like Gan Eden, the Garden of Eden. There were children running around, and there were birds chirping, and you had to step over bicycles, and beautiful, beautiful people everywhere that we met. I had the opportunity when I was there to learn with a woman by the name of Chen Kotler, who thankfully survived because she was not on the kibbutz at that time. And I also had the opportunity to learn with a man by the name of Ophir Lipstein of blessed memory. He was the mayor of the entire region, and he was one of the first responders on what we call the Black Shabbat on October 7th. And he loved that kibbutz, and he loved that area with all of his heart and soul. As I said, Kfar Azza was an idyllic place to me. My community and I many of us were in Israel about 2 weeks ago, and Lir, who's here with us this evening, took us around. And you can still feel deep within that beautiful spark, but that beautiful spark has been marred by horrific events. And we as a synagogue community, we as a Jewish community, we as a global community owe it to the people of Kfar Azza and their surrounding communities, the neighbors, to help them pick up the pieces and rebuild their lives. Elie Wiesel, of blessed memory, taught us that for the survivor who chooses to testify, it is clear his duty is to bear witness for the dead and for the living. He has no right to deprive future generations of a past that belongs to our collective memory. To forget would be not only dangerous but offensive. To forget those we've lost would be akin to killing them a second time. I believe he said firmly and profoundly that whoever listens to a witness becomes a witness. So those who hear us, those who read us, must continue to bear witness for us. Until now, they're doing it with us. At a certain point in time, they will do it for us all. Everybody here tonight is a witness, will be a witness to these 4 brave individuals who have flown across the world to begin a process of telling their story. And I thank you for being here to witness, and I encourage you to share with every single person you come in contact with what you witness this evening. It is by no means a surprise to me that the very busy Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz is here with us this evening, not only to be a witness, but to lend her support as a member of our local, national, global community. And I wanted to invite her to say a few words tonight.
Thank you, Rabbi Jacobs. Thank you, Ramat Shalom. It is good to be here with you again, not because of the reason that we've gathered, but because in a time like this in our community, our need for unity and a sense of community and a sense of being together amongst others who are feeling the same kinds of pain that each of us individually are feeling. Collectively, I know for me, it assuages that pain, if only a little bit. It's good to see my former colleague and friend, Senator Steve Geller, and I know Robyn Sortal is here, who'll be saying a few words as well. And I want to thank her husband, Mayor Nick Sortal, who's doing a fantastic job here in Plantation. Father Cutié is here, I think, and we'll say a few words. Is Father here? Oh, okay. The only reason I was singling out Father Cutié is he married my district director and his wife, and so wanted to make sure I pointed that out. It isn't, what isn't, we're Jewish. We got to point things like that out. You guys all understand. This is not, what's not surprising to me, Rabbi, you might not be surprised that I'm here, and I'm really honored to be here and moved to be here, but I'm not surprised that this event is taking place at Ramat Shalom, because this has really always been a congregation with incredible heart, and you feel things in your kishkas in this congregation, and it always shows, and it's just really wonderful to see you all coming together to be supportive in a very painful time. Especially, we're grateful that we could be amongst the survivors of Kfar Azza, a kibbutz that I have traveled to and visited twice during my trips to Israel, some of my congressional trips to Israel, and it's an incredibly beautiful sanctuary, one that has such a unified community, and it's devastating that it has suffered among the worst tragedy and horrific attacks that occurred on October 7th. I myself have visited Israel twice since that horrific day. I was actually traveling in the region with a bipartisan delegation to promote and expand, ironically, normalization and the Abraham Accords when these brutal attacks took place. And days later, even though the State Department was telling us not to, we dared them not to protect us and crossed into Israel to show our solidarity anyway. We were the first congressional delegation to come to Israel because, at least for me, words matter, deeds matter more. Actions speak louder than words, and it's important to say that you are supportive of Israel and that you will stand side by side with Israel. It's quite another to actually do it. So on our second trip to Israel about a month ago with the same delegation in the surrounding region, we were solely focused on one mission: to galvanize a multinational effort to secure the release of each and every last hostage. Our message, thank you, our message in each country, which included Qatar as well as Egypt, was consistent and clear. We will not let Hamas succeed. The hostages must be released and come home. And I'm proud of President Biden's unwavering support, and I know that he and the United States Congress will continue to stand by Israel's side during this critical time. Over the past few weeks, I've also been focused on ensuring that Americans don't turn a blind eye to the names and faces behind what is, easy to think of as statistics: over 1,200 killed and 134 still captive. To ensure that this story is told and that Americans do not lose sight of the pain facing Israelis and the Jewish diaspora around the world, I'll lead a trip to Israel next month with women members of Congress to see firsthand what happened on October 7th, to help them see what I have already seen, and get vital national security updates, as well as talk with Israeli national leaders, survivors, and hostage families. Throughout these 4.5 painful months, I've met with so many families who still live under a cloud of this unprecedented violence. I've also met with a frustratingly too large number of Israeli families who tragically still live under a suffocating fog of uncertainty about their loved ones, and others who are eternally grateful to have been reunited. Like the father of Emily Hand, who so many of us saw in the very beginning in the aftermath of October 7th, whose daughter was a 9-year-old hostage who was released, thankfully, and alive, which he did not originally think was the case, as part of the humanitarian ceasefire that President Biden helped negotiate. He spoke to me and families still missing their loved ones about the torment that he experienced, and confessed that he had no clue how someone could survive more than double the time that Emily faced. So many of them wake, live, and never really sleep because they don't know whether a loved one is truly lost or still being held captive by Hamas. To ensure that they are not forgotten, I convened the special order hours on the House floor in the evenings to highlight the stories of the real-life people who are still held hostage, because it's so easy for the news and for the world to move on. We cannot let people move on. We intentionally showed their beautiful faces and spoke about what makes each of them special, each of them unique, reminding all of us to never forget these victims who are survivors, who are still suffering under terrorist brutality. We cannot tell these stories enough, and that's why tonight is so important. As I've told all of those families that I met over this time, and just told the families that are here with us tonight, we will not rest until your loved ones are returned to you. Just last week, my office devoted overwhelming energy and resources into raising awareness and a roundtable discussion around the horrific sexual violence that Hamas carried out against Israelis and continues to weaponize against hostages. We had the help of the Israeli Embassy and the White House, with Second Gentleman Doug Emhoff and Special Envoy on Anti-Semitism Ambassador Lipstadt join our effort. It was incredibly disturbing to see and hear the evidence in a closed-door session of the horrific crimes that took place that day, and it reinforced my conviction that rape and gender-based violence must never be employed as weapons of war. These are war crimes. It remains critical to explore why these atrocities were too often met with silence or half-hearted condemnations, and stunningly are still being questioned, challenged, and doubted. All of us in this room know that silence is complicity. It is what we are taught our whole lives. And we know that those who have lost their voice for these Jewish women, that their silence is deafening and unacceptable. Like many of you, my heart has felt like it has been encased in lead since that fateful day. But I know it can't compare to the anguish and heartbreak that the Kfar Azza families are experiencing. The amount of love, support, and resources that you all need right now must be bottomless. Ramat Shalom Beth Israel is committed to helping rebuild, and I'm honored to be here and proud of your work, Rabbi. And I want everyone to know that I will continue to do all I can to provide that same help and support in our nation's capital. This is not political, it's personal. It's personal for me as a Jew, as a Zionist, also as the member of Congress from this district that represents hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of Jewish families. Whether it's pressing for immediate aid to Israel, ensuring her long-term security and peace, battling surging anti-Semitism, or sharing the pain and hurt that I've seen with my own eyes, I'm unyielding in my commitment to our cause. And to hear your personal stories today will help me and all of us reinforce that unwavering commitment and support. At this moment in history, the special relationship that exists between America and Israel must provide a rock of support, resources, and help. And I am here to offer all of that, including love as well as support. Am Yisrael Chai. Thank you so much.
And as the Congresswoman pointed out, I just want to reiterate, if you look around the room as you walked in tonight, you will see images of Emily and Doron, and Ziv and Gail, Gali and Keith. These are hostages that our friends who will be speaking to us tonight are still waiting to be brought home. And we're waiting right there with them. Not only waiting, we're screaming out from America to bring them home. It is an honor to have Senator Geller here with us tonight. And he did wear, I got a picture, your hostage tag on the dais, and I got a picture of that, so thank you for representing them on your...
Thank you, Rabbi Andrew. Rabbi Andrew, Rabbi Cheryl, thank you for everything that you do for the community, including tonight. Debbie, you and I have been friends for, I think it's 34 years. I love you, but I love you more now than I did before you gave that speech. That was heartwarming. I've spoken tonight with some of the survivors from Kfar Azza, and what I told them is what I felt is kind of what I imagine everybody here felt. The only thing I could liken it to was the time in '96 when I was told I had cancer. It was like a punch in the gut when I heard about what was happening in Israel. And I know that sometimes people in Israel don't think of the rest of world Jewry, the diaspora cares. We do. I want you to understand Israel is not alone. The residents of Kfar Azza are not alone. That there are a lot of us, if you look around this room tonight, that's filled, but there is that deep emotional tie that many of us have between the diaspora and Israel, and what happened there was just horrifying and astonishing, and it really hurt all of us. I'm Broward County Commissioner Steve Geller. We're here tonight to welcome 4 survivors of kibbutz Kfar Azza from the brutal Hamas attack on Israel on October 7th. And I hope I pronounced this correctly, but they are Sergei Yankelevich, Lir Soussana, Ayelet Benedek-Kazir, and Doron Admoni. And you will hear from each of them shortly. What happened on that horrific day shocks the consciousness of all reasonable people. Unfortunately, we're finding some that aren't reasonable. Rape, torture, murder, kidnappings, etc. I'm the former chairman of the board of the Holocaust Documentation and Education Center in Dania Beach. What happened in Israel on October 7th, and I guess on the 8th as well, was the largest murder of Jews since the Holocaust. Although nothing compares in numbers to what happened to our people in the Holocaust, the viciousness of the October 7th attack was every bit as bad as the treatment of Jews during the Holocaust, perhaps worse. What has happened since then around the world is almost as shocking, but perhaps not surprising. In countries all over the world, the specter of anti-Semitism has risen again. War is hell. There's no way around that. But nowhere in the world is any military held to the standards that Israel is held to. I don't understand this. We see war and murder going on every day in Africa, in Ukraine, in what's happening in China to the Uyghurs. I mean, it happens every day, and you see nothing about it. But if it happens in Israel, you're going to see it on every news network, and I just don't understand that. I think we've all heard the phrase that Israel is a good country in a bad neighborhood. There are declared and undeclared wars all around the world. I believe that the Israeli military operates to a code that no other country adheres to, yet Israel is singled out. Yet Israel is singled out for criticism like no other country. And Jews across the world are being attacked because the war in Gaza seems to have given anti-Semites the right to attack any Jew anywhere, or so they think. I'm proud to have introduced and passed at the Broward County Commission the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism, stating that anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. Those people that blindly chant, "From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free," are explicitly calling for the destruction of the state of Israel. And if you haven't noticed, from the river to the sea is the geographic boundaries of the state of Israel, the only Jewish country in the world. This doesn't mean that you can't criticize the government of Israel. I'm personally not a huge fan of Bibi Netanyahu, but that doesn't mean that I don't support the country, the nation of Israel, the nation that all of us here belong to. Even in this country, Jews are being attacked and don't feel safe. Students attending college campuses feel like they're under siege. We can only pray that this too shall pass. There are still 5 kidnapped victims of the October 7th attack from Kfar Azza that are still being held captive. On the door of my county commission office since probably October 10th or 12th, or maybe it's the 15th, I've had wanted posters, 3 hostage posters on the door of my county commission office. Fortunately, I have changed them. Originally, they were 3 children, all of whom were freed, but I've unfortunately had to replace them with 3 adults because they are still missing. As long as any of our hostages are missing, none of us are whole. Am Yisrael Echad, Am Yisrael Chai. Thank you.
I'm Rabbi Cheryl Jacobs, and it's an honor for me to introduce one of my friends in a moment, but if you have a chance, I want you at some point to come up and take a look at this painting. When Hanukkah came around, none of us really felt much like celebrating. But I wanted to give my husband, Rabbi Andrew, something that really was special to both of our hearts. This was a painting from a student at Bar Ilan University of Kfar Azza, and it was titled "The Day Before." This is what, according to this artist, Kfar Azza looked like on October 6th. It's beautiful, it's serene, it's full of life. And that's why we're here today, because I know that the residents of Kfar Azza want to know that it's safe before they go home. But someday, the more we share this story, the more we tell the truth, that's how we're going to get back to not October 6th, but a new day of peace, of freedom, and of life. So if you have a chance, please feel free to look at this sometime. It's a beautiful, beautiful picture, and it's a reminder every day of what we're fighting for. So it's my honor to bring up a congregant of Ramat Shalom Beth Israel and a friend. Robyn Sortal is the First Lady of Plantation. And I'm sure she will speak about where her husband, Mayor Nick Sortal, is, but it is an honor to have you represent our city.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Rabbi Cheryl and Rabbi Andrew, for giving me this opportunity tonight. I want to welcome all of you to Ramat Shalom Beth Israel, and especially our friends from Kfar Azza. The mayor and the city council are in session tonight, and Nick really regretted he couldn't be here. So it is my honor to exercise my First Lady authority and welcome all of you here. And I wanted to thank the members of Kfar Azza for making this your first step on your journey in the United States. I am very proud of our city that we have not stood silent. And I am very proud of my husband, Nick, who was among the very first mayors in the county to stand up and support Israel and condemn Hamas. And a few weeks ago, Louis Reinstein also presented a resolution to the city council, which was passed unanimously, to condemn Hamas and its violence and use of sexual assault as a weapon of war. So Plantation has not stood silent, and we have been supporting you. We also know a lot about your community because when Rabbi Andrew and Cheryl traveled there a few years ago, they came back with this love of your kibbutz. And so we know about you. And on this recent trip to Israel with the volunteer mission, he brought the volunteers there to see the destruction. And so his heartbreak was our heartbreak. You are near and dear to us because we know about how the beauty of the kibbutz was and what has happened to you. And I just want to thank my sister for bringing me back this shirt and this medallion to bring it home, because she was very proud of her and my brother Stuart and brother-in-law Stuart and other members of our congregation for being on that volunteer mission. We have learned so much from them and continue to do so. So I'd like to present you with a key to the city. So you're over there. I have a few keys to the city for you. This is just a little token that you can take with you on your travels and know that we are with you. We stand with you. You are not alone. And so just remember here, the key to the city, and I have a little lapel for the men to wear. So I just want to thank you for coming here and sharing your story. And I really look forward to see how we can help you rebuild the kibbutz. So please join me in saying, Am Israel Chai.
So one thing that we're very sure of in this community is that without our friends, it would have been very difficult to raise our heads since October. That includes one of the most incredible interfaith communities that anybody could ask for. Specifically, Father Michael and the people at the St. Nicholas Ukrainian Orthodox Church, Pastor Chris from Calvary Chapel, Fort Lauderdale, Pastor Donovan from Calvary Chapel, Plantation, and Farida Rajkumar, a representative of the Hindu community. But I am so proud to have two people here that I consider two of my closest friends. I call them the boys. And I want to bring them up to say just a couple of words, because you mean so much to us and our community, and you fight relentlessly for us. And so it is my honor to introduce you to Father Albert Cutié, the rector of St. Benedict's Episcopal Church, and Pastor David Elms, the pastor and head cheese at the Cathedral of the Pentecost in Davie. Please welcome them.
Well, shalom, everyone. I want to tell you, last time I was up here speaking, I was introduced as Rabbi Albert. So I said, okay, that's a great honor. I'm Father Albert at St. Benedict's, and I want to say to all of you, Congresswoman, thank you for being here. I want to say that Plantation's a special place. As diverse as we are, we all kind of like each other, which is great. The other thing about Plantation, which is great, is I love my Jewish neighbors, and they know that. The one that lives on the left of me is a congregant here. The one that lives on the right of me, congregants at Kol Ami. And I love all their rabbis. And Rabbi Cheryl and Rabbi Andrew know that. But I want to say something about how I feel as a Christian. Because I want you to know that I am appalled. I am scandalized. I am deeply hurt by the level of bigotry and anti-Semitism that you all have had to witness and that we all have had to witness in the 21st century. Are you kidding me? The level of ignorance among our young people in our universities, the hatred, and that some university presidents and professors have allowed it, and that still among many people of faith, I don't know exactly what faith, but last time I checked, God is love. There are people in our community who continue to perpetuate the hatred. And that is a scandal. And not only is it a scandal, in many, many, many ways, it's a crime when a young Jewish person in one of our communities, in one of our universities, does not feel safe. And I want you to know that Israel, Rabbi Andrew knows this, is like my second home. I love Israel. And I love Jews. And I apologize to you in the name of any Christian who has ever hurt you or made you feel in any way unloved by God or has discriminated you. Please forgive them. It's all based on ignorance, bigotry. Can you say it here, Lord? Stupidity. And to allow it and to perpetuate it. But I am glad that people are being, taken out of the closet. That they have to come out and say exactly what it is. Thanks to social media and so many things, we are realizing more and more. I'm subscribed to every one of the websites and everything. I watch it every day, and I'm appalled when I see that level of anti-Semitism. So this horrible tragedy, my friends, which has impacted the world, especially, obviously, Israel, but I think all of us, wherever we are, we're impacted by this. What happened on October 7th, it will always mark us deeply. But what we see now is that the world, in a way, is being purified, I hope, of this horrible level of anti-Semitism. I want to share with you some words from sacred scripture. Because I think, in spite of the pain, we must live with hope. Isaiah 65:17-19 says these words. See, I will create new heavens and a new earth. The former things will not be remembered, nor will they come to mind. But be glad and rejoice forever in what I will create. For I will create Jerusalem to be a delight, and its people a joy. I will rejoice over Jerusalem and take delight in my people. The sound of weeping and of crying will be heard in it no more. This is so important, that we keep the words of the prophet in our hearts, because the pain will cease. And the many who have sacrificed their lives so that this terrorism, this horrible terrorism, whose only mission is to destroy Israel and its people, it will disappear from the face of the earth. Amen.
I thank you all for allowing us to be a part of this moment. All honor and respect to Rabbi Andrew Jacobs and his lovely wife, Mrs. Cheryl Jacobs, Rabbi. Dear friend of ours, I'm honored to serve with her as chaplains for the Davie Police Department. And of course, our mayor called us soon after the attacks of October the 7th, and we were honored to share together, standing side by side at Town Hall there, and to represent the collective hope and cause of making this something that will not be forgotten, never be forgotten. Ever since Abraham left his kindred and pursued the voice, the blessing would come through him and through his seed. And through him would all the world be blessed. And ever since then, hell has hated the blesser and has hated the blessing. But blessed is the man who walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of the sinner, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful, but his delight. So in moments like this, we have to lose our delight only to regain our delight. His delight is in the law of the Lord. To the families that are here to share your story, thank you for coming and telling us. Our hearts are with you, and of course, I appreciate my friend who just spoke with regard to Christians who have shown you hate. I would like to say, without judging their motive, they're people. I'm not sure they're Christian. And so I am here to tell you, I love you, we love you, and it's an honor to stand in this sacred house right now. May the God of heaven smile upon us all, and may peace reign down upon us so that delight returns. The only way to get the dark out is turn the light back on.
My friends, it's an honor to welcome up to the table tonight. This is the first time these folks are speaking publicly about what happened to them. This is scary. This is overwhelming. But I promised them their first stop was going to be a safe place. Lots of us know this is a safe place, but this is new for them. So I'm going to call them up. You have their bios and you'll hear their stories, but I want to thank each of them as we call them. I want to bring them up just in alphabetical order here. Doron, Ayelet, Lir, Sergei, and with them tonight is my new friend who I've been talking with on WhatsApp for several weeks, Ettiele, who is with the Kfar Azza Foundation, here with us tonight. And as they take their places, I direct your attention to the video screens just for a short video that the foundation has prepared. Some of this we know, it's not easy, but we need to see and learn together.
All I want is to go home. I have days where I want to go back home. I want to sit on my front porch, and I want to know that Sal is sleeping in her bed with the window slightly open so we can hear her if she cries, knowing that my parents are up the road, and just hearing the quiet.
It was a very beautiful place, Kibbutz Kfar Azza, a very beautiful place. I loved it. I've been living there for the last 45 years. I still see it as my home. A lot of things that I love to do in the kibbutz, especially with my grandchildren, and having a very rich community life, especially celebrating the holidays together.
Life was very good. There was returning of young generations, tradition, solidarity.
The community starts with my group. This is second family for me. I don't know how to say it, but the community is part of me. And it's what I like the most in Kfar Azza. 95% paradise and 5% hell. Now it's turned all over.
We moved to Kfar Azza about 2 months before the October 7th events.
Our home was very nice. We liked it. It was friendly, it was quiet, felt like the right decision.
We hear Arabic very early in the morning, before 7. They were outside our window, so we understood very early that it's different. Uri sits with us maybe for 2 minutes, and he goes outside. And the girls say, "Did Dad leave?" And I say, "Dad doesn't leave without saying goodbye."
So a terrorist with a weapon, wearing a Hamas uniform, he was wearing a band on his head, and he was yelling. He was calling people, gathering people to come over, as he already conquered the kibbutz.
Soon enough, we got messages from people. The terrorists are entering the houses, invading their homes, and trying to open the safe room.
You hear them talking, not even shouting. You hear them talking in Arabic, and I don't have the words to explain the feelings, but it's in your home.
Got a text message by the family, WhatsApp. Help us, the terrorists are here, trying to get inside the mamad.
My mom sent a message at 4:59 that their terrorists are trying to break into their house. And 3 minutes later, she sent a message that they broke the safe room door. Please come and help us right now. And that was the last message that she sent.
When we got the message that Ophir Lipstein, which is a good friend of us, was murdered, we realized that something bad is happening and this is not the end.
My sister tells me her son was hurt, so I'm contacting her husband and I'm asking him, "Ori, tell me something." And then he writes back, Ophir, Netta, and my mother were killed. Netta is 22 years old. He jumped on the grenade to keep Iran safe.
The IDF came to our house. I kept walking forward to the soldiers and asking them if they've been to my parents' neighborhood, if they know what happened. And they said, "We have no idea. There are other forces there. We were only here. We're very sorry. You have no idea what you're talking about, what this neighborhood is, where it is. We don't know. We can't answer."
The combat unit was very much alone. Most of them were killed next to the weaponry. Uri and Tal, I don't know how, but they made it out of there. They arrived to the grass, to a big grass next to the swimming pool, and they were killed there. After they bombed my house, those soldiers came and told me, "Listen, we're sorry. We had to do some renovation in your house to make sure that those terrorists are dead." And that's how we were rescued. After 35 hours, we lost it and we stayed alive. What we didn't know, that Tal, my son, was already dead since Saturday morning.
So it's been like tough days. We lost 2 friends and 2 others that now kidnapped in Gaza, Gali and Ziv.
When we got here Sunday night, we still didn't realize what was happening. but we knew that something terribly horrible has happened to all of us. Afterwards, we started to feel the support of those from our community who stayed alive and didn't lose family. Behind that were the people of Kibbutz Shvaim, who really hugged us in so many ways. There was a Kfar Azza community, and enveloped by Shvaim community, and this entire body of two communities almost became one, but rose from the ashes.
Their spirit is strong. I mean, people, even if they lost their relatives or friends, people are strong. Even if their deers were kidnapped and they're still in Gaza, they are strong and they fight and they won't give up.
The group is giving me most of the powers that I'm living with them now. The people that I want to be with them right now, because they just understand me and they're like me. We're in the same situation. And no one else can be in this place. This is the source of my powers now.
It's my home, it's where I grew up. I've always come back to it, even if I really didn't want to. I somehow found myself gravitating back.
I believe that eventually one day we'll go back, we'll come back, and we'll make this place our home again.
I think people will go back to Kfar Azza. I know some people sleeping there today. It's their house. It's their home. The wishful thinking, peace. The wishful thinking is to see the community going back to Kfar Azza, rebuilding it. I want to see kids hanging around on the playgrounds, playing soccer in the fields. And I want to see women with strollers, with babies, mothers, fathers with babies. I want my community back. I really do.
So first of all, I want to start by saying thank you. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for supporting the community of Kfar Azza. We are here to tell you the story of Kfar Azza, but for me, it's the story of the Jewish community, of all of us, of all whom wish for a better world. And just to put things in perspective, Kfar Azza was established back in 1951, 2 kilometers from the Gaza Strip. On October 7th, there were 940 residents in Kfar Azza, including 233 children and 135 seniors. And despite numerous rocket attacks on the kibbutz enjoyed an economic prosperity thanks to a plastic factory that the kibbutz has. Many agricultural branches, and 120 small and large businesses. So we're talking about a strong, very prosperous community. It had a superb educational system and a waiting list of 200 families who wanted to move and join the kibbutz community. Yes, that's huge. And it had very, very vibrant community life around the holidays. They had the Sukkot Kite Festival, a large-scale seder on Passover, Book of Esther show, every Purim, and many other activities that the kibbutz had as in the community. On October 7th, Saturday, October 7th, it was Simchat Torah, as you all know. Hundreds of terrorists invaded the kibbutz, invaded the residents' houses, slaughtered, raped, burned, kidnapped. 64 residents were murdered in the kibbutz. 18 were kidnapped. 5 are still in captivity, and you see the faces. And 4 are still hospitalized. The kibbutz residents became refugees overnight. They were evacuated under fire with nothing but what they were wearing. And they were evacuated to Shvaim, which is also a kibbutz, with basically nothing on. They've lost family members, friends, their homes, and basically their livelihood. And now the kibbutz is basically in a closed military area, and it's going to take 2 to 3 years till they'll be able to return to the kibbutz. So with us, as presented, Doron, Ayelet, Sergei, and Lir, all kibbutz members who's going to share their personal story with you today.
Hi, good evening to all of us. My English, first of all, is not so perfect like you. Hello to my cousin that she's living here. And I must to tell you, this is my first time here in this place, and I feel now like a family, really. I came to Kfar Azza 35 years ago with my first wife and with 2 kids. My older one, she's now 38 years old. Her name is Lee. She's married. She has 2 daughters, 8 years old and 4 years old. And she also a member in Kfar Azza. And my second son for my first marriage is Ran. Ran lives in near San Francisco. He's married with American. She have a new daughter. Now the daughter is 7 months old. Thank you. And after we arrived to the Kfar Azza, after 5 years, I married with Michal. And for Michal, we got 2 kids. Guy, he was on October 7, 25 years old. He was in the army, in the captain in the intelligence. And our young daughter, Gali, she's 20 years old. October 7th, I was with Lee in U.S., near California, near San Francisco, in Palo Alto. There, where is my son lived there. We came to see our granddaughter. And on this week, Michal didn't feel good. Michal, she was 100% handicapped. She's a back operation, 17 years old, and she became 100% disability. But Michal, after a year of recovery in the hospital, she decided to continue the life, to rebuild her life. And she started to study. She started to help other people, other disability people. And she was a dreamer. She started to write books. She already published 2 books, very optimistic books. It was prosa, romance, and we continued the life after her loss. And our life was very optimistic. We educate our kids to be optimist. If we fell down or something happened, we have to continue. It's not easy, but we have to think. We must think positive. This was our life. And the guy was like lighthouse of his group, in the kibbutz, in the same age. They was kids, they become a group. And one of his friends was in this movie. And the guy also was first of all, very looking guy. And is also 1 year before the army, he served also disabled kids. It's a service, 1 year before the army, to help special kids with the special needs. It's not regular for our kids, to young people to support them, but he's done that. And we back to the end on the October 7. Michal, it was 6:30 a.m. It was in California time, about 8:30 p.m. She sent me SMS. Our dog ran away from home. A lot of noises in the kibbutz. Something unusual. I was in California, what I can do. And usually we live 22 years only with bombs, with missiles. And we know maximum we're running to shelter to 15 seconds, the Iron Dome make the job, and we continue the life. This was, nobody thought that have some terrorist on our backyard, And after 15 minutes, I got a message. We got a message, me and my daughter, that probably terrorists in the kibbutz. All the people have to go to the safe room, lock the door, and wait. Also, my daughter became shocked, because her 2 daughter was there, and her husband, he's also Bar, was there. And around another 15 minutes. I don't know how to explain it. I send SMS to all my people that I know, my friends, that Michal and Guy not with us anymore. I don't know how to explain that. I was in California. I was there. Nobody told me nothing, but I felt that that God took them. And I told to the people that I know, I send all the SMS messages. You can find them in the safe room, together, hugging each other. And after 4 days, they found them in the same position. And on these terrible things, we look at the miracle. Some miracle happened with our granddaughter. My husband-in-law is also in the כיתת כוננות. He's run away to take his gun from the armory. He took his two daughters to the neighbor. And when he arrived to the armory, it's about 500 meters, you know. The meter is different feet, I don't know in feet, you know. And he saw half of his friend already dying. He took his gun, he met him, and about this story, and he called to her neighbor, you have to take your family, your three daughters and our two daughters, run away by car from the kibbutz. And it was big mistake to do that, because a lot of terrorists was on the road, but he didn't know, nobody knows that. But in the end, it's like God protect this car. Nobody, how they said that 5 kids in the car. It was amazing. So it was a miracle. Nobody can explain that. And then it was another miracle that my wife told our young daughter, Gali, she's 20 years old. She was in the army these days. On Friday, take our car and go to weekend to visit your boyfriend. You know, it's another miracle. And Guy stay with his mom, this weekend to protect him. And after October 7, one of his teachers wrote on the Facebook that Guy, when he was 15 years old, in the class of humanistic, the teacher asked them, all the class, where you looking yourself another 20 years, another 25 years, what your dream? Everyone said, I want to be doctor, I want to be lawyer, I want to be there. Guy, I didn't know this story before. And Guy told her, I will be or president or prime minister. Or I will die, I will kill, to protect my country. In the end, he tried to protect his country. And we back to Israel on Monday, 2 days, on October 9, me and my daughter. The army organized for us special flight, we came. Immediately, I went to meet my youngest daughter. And when we came to her boyfriend's house, we drink some coffee, we try to cry each other. And after that, I told her, let's we go. We drove to Shfaim Hotel, where is all the community. Okay, we organize all the things. She's our young daughter. We came to the car, and she told me, Abba, Father, Pap, we are still 3 brothers. We have 3 granddaughters. We have to continue our life. The youngest one in the family, but in the end, she's the strongest one. She got all the strength from his mom, from her mom. From this day, our life destroyed. But we are looking for the light. We are in big darkness. But from day to day, the light become bigger and bigger and bigger. This is the legacy of Michal and Guy. For me, I feel they are looking for me now. And we believe that. I back to my work. We continue. And I must to tell you, we lose 44% from our family. My psychologist asked me, after case like that, you have to treat yourself, And she told me, what you lose your wife and your son. What other things you lost? You lost. Ophir Lipstein was my neighbor, my best friend. I lost a lot of friends. And I told her, you know what? I don't have a time to think about my best friend because I'm sorry with my loss, my wife and my son. After 5 minutes, I told her, you know what? I lost my community. Kfar Azza was a strong community. And it's like community here. This is the strength of the people, from each one is one, but when we are together, we have a force. And now the Hamas also destroyed it. And it was very strong. But we have to rebuild it from the beginning. It will be probably different kibbutz, But I met a lot of communities that coming to Israel, and we talk from all worldwide. And this is our strength also. And we believe that to be biyachad, it's to be biyachad on real, not only to say that. And we will continue. We're looking for the light. And this is my message for all. And also to think positive. Thank you. After that.
Hi, my name is Ayelet. I was born in another kibbutz on the sea of Galilee, which is a very beautiful kibbutz. Sometimes people ask me, so why did you go to Kfar Azza? It's in the desert. I said, I met the love of my life, and he took me there. He was from Kfar Azza. He was, until the end, the love of my life. We have three kids. My son, he's the oldest son, he's 36, he has 2 daughters, I have 2 granddaughters. We had good life. Everybody told you that the kibbutz is very beautiful, was very beautiful, which is true. We had a home, which was warm and full of love. I liked what I did, my job. I'm a psychotherapist. I had a clinic, very good one, in my house, and worked with the community as well. My husband, he was I forgot the word now, but he was he worked with agriculture. He worked in agricultural, and and the thing with him that he was an expert in everything that he touched. Really, it's not because I'm telling you this is true. No, really. Like my kids are the most beautiful kids in the world, and it's absolutely objective. Well, I told you we had a good life, so my second daughter, she was very, very sick. She got cancer, and it was 1 year before, and she was for 1.5 years in hospital, and both of us took care of her. But he was such a mensch, you know. He was such a good man and with a great heart. So he told me all the time, you have your patience, just work, you know, I will be with her. And for 1.5 years, I was with her only in weekends. We had to sleep there, but he was all the time there. We didn't meet each other, just, you know, for changing shifts. And it ended, and she's okay. She's okay. She I can't say she got, she's better. And we came home together. We came back to be a couple, and we had such wonderful, I think, 4 months, something like that, 2 weeks before 7 of October, which I call it 7/10, okay, 7/10. We sat on the sofa, he looked at me and he said, really, it was like that, you look so nice. I forgot how nice you look because we didn't meet for such a long time. And then he said, you know, I have everything that I ever dreamed in my life. I have you, which is me. He was right. And those 3 kids of us, which are really special. No, really. And the kid is, I mean, she's not a kid. She was 32, now she's 33. She's recovering. And he said, I swear to you, he said, I'm so happy I have a family and I have my hobbies. I forgot to say that he had 2 hobbies. One, I always forget in English how to say, with pigeons, home pigeons. Yeah. So he had a very big cage. No, there is a word for that. Okay, cage. He a what? It's too complicated. Cage, it's okay. Which he built himself. He built a water system and, well, everything there for something against the rain, something against the sun, and he was many hours there, happy with them. I don't know what he found there because it just said, look how beautiful they are, which are, well, okay. I all the time told him, do what you want, just be happy. Life is short. And that's what he did. And the second hobby was driving Jeep. So when he went on pension, he bought the first Jeep. It was such a big story. He went all over Israel to find the Jeep. But when he found the Jeep, he realized that we don't have money for that the Jeep. So he bought a Jeep. And with that Jeep, well, he went all over the country. He always wanted me to come. I can't say I hated it because sometimes it was nice, but you know, summer in Israel, which is very, very hot, well, his Jeep. And I used to work so hard, and in the weekends, all I wanted is to rest, right? But he was on pension, and he wanted on the weekends to be with me and the Jeep. So sometimes, sometimes I went with him, but that Saturday, we had a plan. I supposed to be with him, but then my son called me the night before, and he said, on Friday, and he said, we are going with a granddaughter. Then he had only one daughter. I had only one granddaughter. And he said, we are going to pick some berries or something. I said, oh, I'm coming with you. And I said to my husband, sorry, I can't come. I have to go with my son. And okay, he said, okay. 7:10, we were sleeping. And he went on 6:25. I was asleep, sleeping. And then he called me, and he said, when he phoned me, in the same times, I heard a terrible attack, missile attack, which we never experienced an attack like that. And he told me, are you in the safe room? I said, yes, I'm in the safe room. Where are you? He said, I just got out of the kibbutz, I'm coming back. I said, no, don't come, it's such a terrible attack. And he said, do you think you're gonna be alone by yourself? I'm coming. And he just shut down the telephone. And he didn't come. And I know him that whatever happened, if he would have been alive, I don't know, even in Gaza, he would find a way to tell me that he's alive. And he didn't. And half an hour passed, and I knew he was dead. And then I thought, well, something very serious is going on here, and I need to be in control. I can't now fall apart. So I decided, I told you I'm a psychotherapist, and my specialty, one of them is post-trauma. So I knew I have to do something not to get into post-trauma. So first of all, I decided with myself that I'm not going to think about him. So how can I not think about him? I will meditate. So that's what I did. I meditated, but not the usual meditation, because I don't do it usually. But well, the shelter is very small, only bed and cupboard. And I began to visualize. No? Or it's that one? Okay. All the museums that I used to see, to visit. I like museums very much. And then terrorists came into my house. I heard them. And what shall I do now? I can't explain it. I was very, very cool. I wasn't hysteric at all. I heard them coming. I went inside the cupboard. I am the only person who first got inside the cupboard and then got out of the cupboard. It's a joke. Okay, and then they just brutalized my house. They ruined everything. And I said, okay, it's going to take a while. It's going to take a long time. I'm a second generation for the Holocaust, so I imagined immediately what is going to happen. I knew I need water. I need something for my, needs. I don't know how to say it in English. And food, and something to do. I can't meditate the whole time. I need something to do. So I went out. Now, when I say out, my safe room, it's difficult to find it if you don't know the house. But front of it, it was like a mountain full of my books, broken shelves, and I need to go over it. And well, there was no water, no electricity, no media, nothing. So I took some water I had in the jug. I put it in a bottle, something. I didn't have enough water, but that's what I had. And I took my phone and I pictured the whole house, because I said, well, I hope I will say it in English correctly. I don't count, I thought, I don't count on the government that will come and see all the damages. I will take a picture of all of that, and there won't be any arguments. So that's what I did. And I went inside and began to read. I took 2 flashlights, began to read. Now, I didn't know what book it was. I just remember the color. It was green. And of course, I don't remember what I read, but I had to do something. And afterwards, the flashlight, the battery went off, so I couldn't read. And then I meditate some more, and I was 30 hours in the shelter, safe. It's called safe room, but it's not safe at all. And then I heard, now when the terrorists were in my house, they were 3 times in my house, they shouted all the time. But when they were behind my house, they shouted in Hebrew, come everybody, come outside, this is the IDF, we come here to protect you, but nobody came out. And then I heard the sound of, not walkie-talkie, but the army radio or something. Everybody who was in the army in Israel recognized this sound, but then everything was closed. The window was closed with a very thick iron window or shed. I don't know. Yeah, okay. And I heard it, and then I knew I have to see it, so I opened it. It took me 15 minutes to open about 30 centimeters, and but there were sheds behind, and I couldn't open them, so I made a periscope out of some paper that I had, and I saw soldiers. Now, are they soldiers or terrorists? And then one of them shouted, "Is there anybody alive here?" I will never forget this sentence. I didn't answer. He shouted that 3 times. I didn't answer. And then they began to walk away. And I said, my goodness, what am I going to do? So I opened the window, I took my hand out, and I shouted, I'm here. And they said, don't move, your house is wired. The first time I went out, it wasn't wired because here I am, but after 2 times, maybe in the second or the third time, they wire it. So the soldiers came, 4 soldiers. They took me. On each side of me was a soldier, you know, with a rifle like this. And I told them, well, if it wasn't a war, it could be sexual abuse, because they just, you know, I wouldn't move. They told me not to move. They just moved me with the bodies. So, and then, well, they took me to a car, and I asked them, did you see a white Jeep? Did you see? And nobody talked to me. They didn't say yes, they didn't say no. They didn't talk to me. And then they took me to a center. It was a gas station where all the survivors of the kibbutz were there. And everybody asked me, where is Kachko, my husband? And I said, he's dead. And they told me, how do you know? I said, I know he's dead. And I was in shock. I mean, my son called me. No, my kids weren't at home. He called me, and I answered. Well, it wasn't my phone. It was another phone of my neighbor or something. And he cried, and he was like, Mommy, Mommy, Mommy. And it just, you know, it's like a slow motion. I began to realize that something really terrible had happened. You know, it was like my brain was frozen. And when I talked to my son and he was crying, I said, I'm alive, but Daddy is dead. He said, no, how do you know? Maybe he was kidnapped, maybe. I said, no, your father is dead, I know that. And 4 days later, I got the announcement that he was dead in his beloved Jeep in the entrance of the kibbutz. Many people saw him when they were evacuated from the kibbutz, but nobody told me. So I didn't know that. And it was like hell. Very difficult, because we were together for 42 years. He was my best friend. Everything I could dream about. I'm going to finish, but I want to tell you a story before coming here. I'm a forgetful woman. I don't remember important things, just history or psychology, or things like that. Where I put my glasses, where to take, you know, where are the underwears, I don't remember. So every time we went to travel, he was packing everything. My passport was with him, money, everything he did, insurance, everything, because we don't have time to tell you about my wedding, how I forgot I'm going to get married. But really, it's a true story. So when when we came here, before that, my youngest daughter asked me, "Mommy, do you want me to help you?" Because I couldn't find nothing. And she came and she packed my suitcase and everything, but she couldn't take the passport, for my passport and all the things that I need to the flight. So all the flight, I was so nervous. Where's my passport? Where's my passport? And I just, I cursed my husband that he came home in that Saturday and didn't stay wherever he was. So this is my story.
Evening. It's a difficult mission to talk after Ayelet. She's great. So I would really appreciate you for coming here. And it's my first time that I tell my story. And for my poor English, I'm sorry, really sorry for it. But I'll tell you about the day began with my family that I take them to the shelter, and we got message in our Kitat Konenut. It's a team, civil team, security team, civil first response team. I'll tell you, it's Kitat Konenut, okay? Yeah. So we got group, and someone wrote that parachute crossed the border of the kibbutz with people, and we, all of us, take ourselves, and meeting point was in armory. All our weapons were there, so all of us came to armory, and it was a lot of gunshot from everywhere, and you talk about Hen Kotler. So later we know that on later we understood that on Hen Kotler's roof was a sniper that killed four of our friends from Kitat Konenut. But we didn't know that. Actually, they waited for us and not we for them. It's a biggest difference from kibbutz Kfar Azza and other kibbutz in our area. But it took a few minutes that half of our Kitat Konenut, we was 14, and seven of us were dead in a few minutes. Between them, there was a head chief and commander and officers for our team. So we stayed alone with no head. And me and Bar, you saw him in a film, we decided to reach to first neighborhood in the kibbutz. In the middle of our way, we met about 70 terrorists that came from everywhere with vehicle, with weapon, RPG, grenades. And I got the gem in my weapon, so we split with Bar. Every one of us stayed alone. It took half hour. I came to neighborhood, and I wrote to my wife that I'm okay and no terrorists in that neighborhood. But I got message from another friend, Abichai, that he fighting with many terrorists, and he wanted. And I started my way to him. It's in other side of the kibbutz. And on my way, I shot it twice. But I met him. And then I met him. I was sure they're gonna kill us. They're gonna finish their work, but they shoot us from far away. They don't come close to us. We were waiting about 1 hour and a half, and some policemen came to us, and one of them stayed with us. But after 3 hours that we being there, I got message from, because me and I have so best friends, and we have group between us, between our families. So his battery in cell phone was ended, and his wife wrote to me that terrorists came to his house, and after that she stopped answer. It was Agar, and so we were sure that they killed them all, and it was really bad moment. But we stayed there. I told him we should get out from here, from this hell, and later we'll know facts about what's going on with his family, but now we should survive. And after 6 hours, came car and evacuated us to gas station. There we were waiting about 1 hour. In this hour came one vehicle from Jeep from the kibbutz and came through crashed on our car that we was in there. It was terrorists that just tried to run away from kibbutz, but he decided to kill some people on his way, but he didn't. And after 1 hour, they took by helicopters me and I had to hospital. It was great place. Kibbutz was. I went to kibbutz 7 years ago, and I met really great people. And we was a group about 10 friends, really good friends. At least two times a week we were meeting each other, and 7 of them were in Kitat Konenut, in a response team, and 4 of them were killed. At the day, Avihai's family kidnapped to Gaza, and another family, Russo, you saw Dafna. Her husband, it was closest family, Brodach and Russo. So Russo's husband were killed at that day. That was our day, October 7. My family, I got 2 kids, Eitan, 10 years old, and Eden, 8 years old, and the mother-in-law that was with us at that day, but she decided to stay at her room, not with all the family in a safe room. And in the middle of the day, she was too bored, and she started to see TV, but she can't hear, so she raised up in full volume and talked with all her family. But soldiers came at midnight, and they just take all the neighborhood together. It was like a ring of soldiers around them. They took we got 3 dogs, so my children and my wife was with dogs. Our neighborhood take my mother-in-law by wheelchair, and they walked about 1 mile to gas station. My daughter told me that she saw dead people on the way. She's 8 years old, but they're okay.
You were shot twice.
Yeah, I still have one souvenir in my side.
Hi, my name is Lir. I met some of you guys back in Kfar Azza. For me, I'll speak a bit about the day itself. In Kfar Azza, my parents live, and both of my brothers are married. At that day, also, I had a nephew who was 5 months old. So the first grandson, you know, it was very exciting. So we were very worried. 3 different houses in Kfar Azza. So, you know, the statistics says that probably something's gonna happen. We all survived. We all were rescued. But a lot of my community didn't. 10% of my community didn't. As you can hear the stories. So a week later, my dad, we had a family meeting, and he said, Yam, Gon, Lir, Yam and Gon are my brothers. He said, we're going back to Kfar Azza a week later. Because he said the community needs stuff. You know, people needed DNA samples to give so they'll recognize their loved ones, or to give to know if they're hostage or not. So when I came back to Kfar Azza, there were loads of dead terrorists on the grass because they were wired, booby-trapped, so they couldn't move them. Lots of dead dogs that were booby-trapped, grenades, RPGs. I couldn't walk on the grass. At least 8 soldiers protected me alone to walk into the houses. It took them 4 days to clear Kfar Azza from terrorists until Wednesday, so it's a lot of time. So they left a lot of things around Kfar Azza. And we were focusing on how can we help the community, because you need to understand, we didn't have our own funeral. We lost so many members of the community and our friends and families, but we knew that this is the time to help and to start and try to help the community. And since then, you guys met me in Kfar Azza doing tours, because for us it's very important to show you what happened and for you to come and bear witness. It's so important for us to know what our friends and families went through. Since that day, we're very focused on our hostages. Most of them are my age. I'm 27. One of them is 64, Keith Siegel. He's an American citizen. And I always say that Emily, she's my age. We went to school 12 years together, same friends, same everything. And I always tell that her mom comes from England. She moved to Israel. So Emily has great English. And I always say that she could have been here and not me, because they took her and they didn't took me. It's a matter of luck, you need to understand. And those of you who went to Kfar Azza, you saw that there's no logic, and you cannot explain why someone survived and someone didn't. And she could have been here speaking about me being hostage in Gaza. We still have 2 girls from Kfar Azza in Gaza. 15 in general from Israel, but 2 are from Kfar Azza. We are very worried about them. We are very worried about the guys also, but to all the women in the crowd, you know the difference and how anxious we are to bring them back, all of them. And we need your help. We need your help to do it as fast as we can. Bring them home. There's not a single day that's going by that I'm not thinking about each and every one of them when I take a shower, when I go to the toilet, when I sit with friends, when I drink something, wondering what's going on there. So we are reliving October 7th over and over again. Every morning we wake up, we relive October 7th. You wake up, you remember what happened, you remember who you lost, and you remember those that are still there and have to come back home. It's more than 4 months already. When you guys visited, I think it was 3 months. And I really hope that I wouldn't come here, although I'm really happy to meet you guys. But you know, in Hebrew we say nipagesh b'smachot. We should meet in happy events. So please, we need your help. We need to bring them home now. Thank you very much.
I know the hour is getting late, but I do want to point out that 2 of the hostages you know about, because they were 2 of the 3 young men who were accidentally killed by the IDF. That was their community. That was their friends. Just something to think about. We're going to do a little presentation to the 4 of you, 5 of you, 4 of you, 5, sorry. Then we're going to sing Hatikva together, and those who can stay would like to ask some questions, we will invite you to do so, but I want to present Rabbi Cheryl with the microphone here.
So, when we were speaking with Etty, we said we want to do something. We have to do something. And so Etty gave our community an unbelievable opportunity. She said, Purim is coming, and these children need some joy. We need them to have the ability to celebrate something. So if you were to walk into my office right now, there is no floor, because this unbelievable community has banded together and bought Purim costumes for all of the children on the kibbutz. This is one of my favorites. Our hope is with all of these costumes is that for even a half an hour, they can have time to just be children, to celebrate the moment that they're in, and hopefully that they will know that their friends in the United States, and maybe everybody needs to know, that their friends in the United States will stand with you. We will come and we will use our hands to rebuild the kibbutz if you'll have us. And we are here for you for whatever you need. And we support you, and we are so grateful for you. So these are going to be sent out, well, those. No, you don't have to take them. I couldn't even move the box. But I'm going to send them to Edith tomorrow. They'll go to Kibbutz Shfaim. And may the children, may you all, only from now on, experience happiness and joy.
I want to call upon our cantor as we all rise together to sing Hatikva. Afterwards, of course, we welcome folks to ask a few questions, but I know that for some folks you have work and school tomorrow, and I am just so grateful. So grateful, there's no words, for your bravery and for teaching us tonight.
Our flag behind.
Kol od b'leva b'nima nefesh Yehudi homiya ulfatei mizrach adima Ayelet Zion Sophia התקווה בת שנות 2000 להיות עם חופשי בארצנו ארץ ציון וירושלים להיות עם חופשי בארצנו ארץ ציון ירושלים.
Thank you, Cantor. Whether you're staying with us for a bit or you're going home, as you walk out, as you leave, you will see a QR code. If you take a picture of this and click on the website, it's your way to help rebuild the kibbutz and make a difference for their lives. So those who are staying, I invite you to have a seat for a few minutes, understanding again that some of you are going to be leaving us tonight. If there are questions, I invite you to come on up to the microphone. Just keep in mind, some questions might not be able to be answered by our friends tonight. It might just be too much.
I wanted to tell you something. Lir, good to see you. You said something about you felt like family. You are family. You don't have to feel like it. You are our family, and we are your family. And we mean it. And we got our belts on. We're ready to go back and start rebuilding. Okay? Thank you very much.
I'm heading out, but I really want to thank you all for being here. It takes a lot of